With this talk, I would like to help you achieve what really matters to you. But let me start with a personal question. Do you also have too many things to do? Well, I guess we all have too many things on our plates, and therefore we have to make a decision what to do first. Let's imagine that we can put all the things that we have to do somewhere on a sheet of paper, like this. That helps us to differentiate whether something is important or not important, and urgent or not urgent. Now let's put all the things on one of those quadrants. Where do we get started? Well, it's quite obvious that most of us are starting here with important and urgent stuff. Well, the next question is a little bit more tricky, because what do we do next? I recently had a chance to discuss this question with students here at HHL. And after a bit of a discussion, we came to a majority agreement that next we would do this here. We do the important and not urgent stuff, simply because it's important. And then, shall we go for this one? Well, there was this one student who raised his hand and said, well, Dr. Hückel, if something is not important, why should we do it at all? And he's absolutely right. Why don't we smilingly, respectfully say no to all the things that are not important? And how do we find out what is really important to us? Well, my experience comes from Red Bull, where I was leading marketing and sales teams all over the world for more than 23 years. And in those more than 160 countries of distribution, I really had to know what was important to our young consumers. And we generated tons of research about this question. And more importantly, I really wanted to know what was important to our young colleagues, our employees who I had the honor to lead. And mostly out of this experience, I've created my butterfly model to help them, and maybe to help you, identify what really matters to you and how to make it happen. When you're a teenager, what is important to you? Well, don't get me wrong, I think we should do a lot of things that don't make any sense whatsoever at that age, and also at my age. But there are three pillars of our future that will impact the rest of our lives. And one of them is your education. Education is the first pillar, the second one, socializing, and the third one, other activities. So when you think of the next steps of your education, follow your strengths and not anybody else's expectations. What do I mean by socializing? Well, these are your best friends, maybe one handful of friends, and whatever is important to them must be important to you as well. And I believe it's our obligation when we're moving away, when we're moving to another place to go study there or to work there, that we keep the contact with them, because otherwise we might lose them. And the third pillar are the other activities. Well, this is your passion. Maybe that's your sports discipline. Maybe you're into arts. Maybe you're into drama or into a social work. And that's wonderful, because this is where you develop grit. And grit is closely linked to academic success and professional success. One of the pro bono activities that I'm doing is to take care of a school. together with other passionate parents. And at this school, St. Gilgen International School, which is located close to Salzburg in Austria, there was this remarkable example of grit displayed by a bunch of students. Because they prepared together to climb the Mont Blanc, the highest peak in the Alps. And they were training for years, together with their passionate mountain guide, who's also employed by the school, to improve their endurance. They learned how to climb. And they learned how to survive a night on a glacier. And in the end, they did it. They reached the top of the Mont Blanc together as a group, everybody of them. And when they returned to school, I mean, they received standing ovations from everybody. And even more importantly, it looked so strong on their CV. Because the recruiters of the best universities and of the greatest companies, they're looking for those signs of grit that you already showed in your lives. But what happens later, once you start to work? Well, this is a shock. Because all of a sudden, there's somebody who's telling you what to do. And you had this stable triangle of your life, and all of a sudden things are getting shaky. You have to put like a balance beam on top of this, and you have to balance a private side of things and a professional side. And this balance can look like this. Because the thing is that now you're taking over professional roles and private roles. And the first role that you're taking over, when you remember this first day when you went to work, when you're putting on your best shirt or your nicest blouse to make a good impression, your first role is in relationship to your boss. And whatever is important to him or to her must automatically be important to you as well. And then maybe a second role is coming, then you're maybe in a working group with peers. And then a third role, one day maybe you will lead another person or more people. And then automatically whatever will be important to them, your direct reports, must be important to you as well. If you think of taking over a fourth professional role, a fourth important role, you will have to let go of one of the others. You cannot do more than 3 important professional roles in the long run. That's what I learned from Professor Seiwert, a German expert on work-life balance, and he's absolutely right. Because on the other side, there are your private roles. The first one, and the most important private roles that you have, will be your role as a partner, of course, as a partner. So whatever is important to your significant other, to him or her, must automatically be important to you as well. And then hopefully, rather later than sooner, then you get the second role as a parent. And those little monsters, they will talk you into anything. And what will be important to them will be important to you as well. And then maybe the third role will be like the role as a friend or as a family member. So there are 3 professional, 3 private roles, and there's one more role, a 7th role. And this is yourself. That's your ego. And you have to watch out that for yourself, there has to be this balance between relaxation and tension, or yin and yang if you want. Relaxation standing for health, wellness, chilling out, yoga, massage, reading a book. Tension standing for competition, working out, partying hard, energy. And if you're able within yourself, which still is the basis of everything, to find that balance, and if you're also able to find a balance between your important private roles and professional roles, then the magic is going to happen. Because then your model turns into a butterfly that can take off and fly away. Does it look a little bit like a butterfly? No, to be honest, I was practicing to draw butterflies now for more than 20 years, and this is as good as it gets. However, where are you heading now? Well, Viktor Frankl, he said you detect rather than invent the missions of your lives. You detect rather than invent. And ideally, you find missions in different roles, here and here and here. And it's not important at what age you find them. Sebastian Vettel, 4 times Formula One world champion. He was at the age of 11 when he approached my colleague at Red Bull Germany and convincingly declared that one day he would be a Formula One driver at the age of 11. Jan Frodeno, the German triathlon superstar, he was in his 20s when he was following his mission to become Olympic champion, and he was in his 30s when he was following the new mission to win the Ironman Hawaii World Championships, more than once. Dietrich Mateschitz, the founder of Red Bull, was in his 40s when he quit his previous job, and he created a brand that would give wings to people, and he founded a company that would, in the end, be a global company with annual sales of 7 billion euros. And do you know Andi Holzer? He's an Austrian climber. And in his 50s, he climbed the Mount Everest on his 3rd attempt in his 50s. Andi Holzer is blind. He cannot see the mountain, but he can feel it, and much more. And my own mother, she was in her 60s and in her 70s. A retired teacher, already fighting her illness, when she found in herself the mission to found a school in Africa. And she went there, she traveled there and laid the stone of foundation. And today, more than 500 children can go to this school, and the whole village can benefit from the water supply of the school. And what they all have in common is that they're feeling something very special about their missions. They feel something like those butterflies flying around in your stomach. Almost like falling in love. And when you are able to find your missions, and they give you this feeling of the butterflies flying around in your stomach, this is going to be your personal butterfly effect. Because then extraordinary things are going to happen. So, whenever you see a butterfly out there in nature, which is very rare nowadays, step back and think of yourself. Do you feel the butterflies flying around in your stomach when you're doing what you're doing? If not, I'm inviting you to use my butterfly model to help you identify and achieve what really, really matters to you, and to say no to all the other things that are not important. Thank you so much, and watch out for the butterflies.